Question of the day. Would you rather be broke or be woke? So that's today's question, right? That's a question that plagues the Black community all the time. There's always this battle. Should you make money or should you be conscious and work for the movement to help Black people elevate? Today, I wanted to bring somebody on because we've been having this conversation. We said we should talk about this for the whole audience because we all kind of struggle with this a little bit, right? It's okay to make money, but when is it too much, right? When does it go wrong? Or is there wrong? So today I wanted to bring on Jimmy from By the Hood, my fellow Black Ball Project brother, and we wanted to have a good conversation and get into it. What's up, brother?
What's up, beloved? How you?
Oh man, it's good. We ain't rocked out in a minute.
I know, man. I know. I mean, well, we getting our normal. Supposed to be 2-minute conversations that end in a couple-hour conversations, but not on the platform, or not on your platform, man. How are you?
Or on yours, right? Yeah. And Dag, there was something else I wanted to try out today. There's a way to link the platforms now, and I don't even know how to do it.
We do it whenever, man. We can try that whenever, man.
Yeah, we'll get to it. But today we're gonna talk about it, right? Mm-hmm. Make money or be woke.
Let's talk about it. All right. So this is an interesting conversation, right? And I know that this is a battle that happens in our community all the time.
All the time. Hold on.
Go ahead.
I gotta do you right, man. So again, this is JW, Jimmy Williams from By the Hood, right? Gotta give him the horns. Gotta give him his respect.
Oh, I got air horns. That's all I wanted was air horns.
Oh yeah, gotta give him the horns.
I'm official now.
Of course, you've been official. You was official before I met you. You was who you was before you got here, player. Right. So today, we wanted to have this conversation. And me and Jimmy was actually having this conversation behind scenes. And like you said, he wanted to felt like we should have it with everybody. Because this is a conversation that we all struggle with. A lot of people struggle with. So go ahead, Jimmy. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, I was just saying that it is something that we struggle with. But even deeper than should you be one or the other, is how do you find that happy medium to kind of do a little bit of both or be a little bit of both?
But I mean, a lot of people don't think you can have a happy medium now.
That's the conversation right there. Can you have a happy medium, right? I know the term woke has been, that's the new N word, the way folks are using it out in the streets. but the idea is, can you be a capitalist but still operate, in the conscious space? Like, is it possible? And that's kind of the conversation.
Now people get mad at me when I tell them I'm a Black capitalist, right?
Oh yeah.
But they think I'm crazy. But they're like, "But Kamara, you do stuff for the community and you give stuff out and you do yada yada yada." Most people don't even know what capitalism is, and I think that's a big problem with our community. We don't understand economics. We don't understand business at a deep level, because all of these isms are just philosophies. That's all they are. They're not hard set in stone. Yeah. And in my opinion, you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. And also it's that debate over what makes more sense or what helps more people and what we're actually living in, right? Because unless we're ready to take up arms and just change the whole system, and we're not prepared for that either, you have no choice but to operate under this current structure. Now, the thing is this current structure capitalism that we live in? That's a whole other debate. No. All right, so I would agree with you. It's not, right? So that's a whole other debate. But the fact of the matter is, this is still the system that we have. So how do we operate in this current system, and do what's right for our folks? That's the question I get into debates with all the time. People tell me, "Oh, I'm a socialist. I'm a this." I'm like, okay, cool. But that's not what we have. So like, what you going to do with what we have? How are you going to produce and do for your folks right now with what we have? You know what I mean? So that's the other part of the conversation.
I don't think folks really know, really know what these things are. They don't know what capitalism is. They don't know what socialism is. They don't know what communism is. Because when I hear people talk about it, because I went to school for finance, and in finance, you have to take a lot of economics classes. Y'all don't understand the definitions. And again, not trying to be overly technical about some of this stuff, but how can you really have a real conversation about a thing if you really don't understand what it is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I mean, it's difficult, right? Because what you're talking about and what capitalism is are two different things. Right. Because most people, like we just said, think that we live in a country that practices capitalism, and we have a bastardized version, right? Where the oligarchs get to do kind of what they want. So it's not true capitalism. But at the end of the day, all these things are just isms. And So as my brother Corey likes to say, man, people going people. And the thing about all these different
Hold on,
systems,
we gotta give it up for Corey because that's real. People are going to people.
people going people. So people are being a part. People are operating any of these systems. So you're going to run into issues no matter what system you choose to abide by because it's just people.
Because the wildest thing to me, right, with all of this, and I'll probably do another show on this, but all this pro-Russia talk is like they're kind of like the epitome of socialism / communism.
Mm-hmm.
But why there's so many poor people there and why there are oligarchs there if it really was truly about the people? And it's like, maybe y'all need to look at this a little bit deeper. But
well, because the same way that we think we have capitalism, they think they had that. So none of these things are actually, like you just said, there's ideas. There are ideas.
That's all they are.
Who has actually implemented any of these ideas, right?
To the fullest of the extent.
To the fullest of the extent, yeah.
Yep.
So that's the other question, right? But the overall topic in terms of, like, you know, business owner and woke is interesting because when you operate a business, right, and it depends upon who you listen to. Some people believe that operating a business is for the only purpose is to generate value for shareholders, whether that's a small business and you're the only shareholder, whether you have a large corporation and there's many shareholders, right? Milton Friedman was the economist who said that the only purpose of a corporation is to provide value to shareholders. So if that's true, not saying I agree with that, how do you operate in that space in terms of maximizing profit by still being for the people? And that's the conversation that me and you were having offline. You said that it's possible.
Yeah, I think it's possible. So here's the thing. I would have to go dig this up, right? But Ben and Jerry's multi-billion-dollar business was brought by a major conglomerate, but their whole thing was for socialism. Well, not socialism, but they had a social mandate. They wanted to take care of folks. You can do that within a capitalist construct, right? Not so much within a socialist / communist construct. And so if I think people really got down to it and understood what certain things are, it would be, I think we could get more traction. But I also think we live in the past a lot. And so, you know, Baba Chairman Fred, years ago was pro-capital. Pro-socialism. So he was so prolific in what he did and what he talked about in his movement with the Panthers that's just kind of etched in everybody's brain. But then you go to Malcolm, right? He was talking about capitalism. If you really think about it, right? The whole do business, do for self, that's a capitalist construct. Now, if you don't understand capitalism, it might sound foreign to you. Yeah. And then so if you go back to the originator of all this, the OG, right? Marcus Messiah, Garvey, was talking about capitalism. He was talking about doing it to take care of your folks.
Yeah. I mean, he also said race first, and people tend to forget that part. But so you made a lot of excellent points there. The thing is, again, this gets back to those isms, right? And
all isms. Sparkman-isms.
But it's also difficult to compare anything that we're trying to do with Ben and Jerry's for a lot of reasons, right? Whether that's politically or just culturally. But I get the idea that you can operate at that scale and still have, I guess, a heart, so to speak. But the thing is it just about creating value or revenue and then just giving back? What about the things that you do during the way, right? You see a lot of, I hate using this analogy, but I hear a lot of this in, say, hip hop, right? Where rappers talk about they sold X amount, you know what I mean? But now they're giving back. I can't help the poor from one of those, right? To quote the brother. Yeah. So, but the thing is, if you're causing harm along the way, how do you kind of, like, you know, reconcile that, right? Is it just about creating value to have value and to just to give back to the community? What about what you do during that journey? That's the question I have for you.
Well, I mean, I think it's a rough thing, right? Many people who are brought up under Western Americanized type things feel like they only have one way to get out. Yeah. And that was orchestrated intentionally, right? Like you and I talking about, like, this whole concept of the streets or keeping it real or being a real nigga is been all constructed by white folks. And so a lot of times we are brought into this Americanized narrative of what wealth and being rich is, and we haven't really questioned it. And there's not enough people of us questioning it. So then you get these aberrant abominations who done that. But, you know, if you're talking about that period, right? We both watched Snowfall. A lot of people fell for the crack trip. If you go back into the 60s and 70s, a lot of people fell for the Aron trip, right? They thought it was a get rich quick scheme. That lottery ticket we always talk about is lottery ticket mentality. And so people are like, all right, I'm gonna get this because I'm just surviving here. I'm in the jungle right now, and the projects has got like 20,000 people in it. It's hand to mouth. A lot of people are desperate. The utilities might be off. I gotta figure out a way to put money on the table. And we have some way, somehow kind of normalized what I would call criminal activity. But I also get that because, again, that was the only option.
So like, I'm very careful with how, you know, I talk about folks and judge folks who feel like they have no other alternative. But the point I was making is, in this space that like both of us are in, right? You have people that are like just on one side, to use the term you would use, ultra woke, where all they do is walk around in garb and is mama and baba is, but they don't do anything, right? And that's no shots at anybody, no disrespect to anybody, but I've seen it.
Yeah.
Then you have folks on the other side who are just completely capitalist, who have no feelings at all about community, about anything other than making a dollar, right? But when you try to operate in that middle space, is you getting stuff thrown at you from both sides.
I'm not black. I'm OJ.
By the way, OJ commented on that line. I don't know if you saw the clip.
Of course I did.
Oh, you saw it? Okay.
Of course I did.
The man got it wrong. But anyway, but the point is,
the actions speak though, right? So it wasn't just about his words; it was also the actions that went along with it. But
listen, I'm not listen. I thought it was
I'm not judging. I ain't judging. I'm just saying.
It's an amazing line. It's an amazing line. But the point is though, how do you now give and for everybody watching, you're watching the replay, you're watching live. I'm gonna tell you how to have this conversation. So I have rental properties, and I was looking at certain properties, and I'm looking at what I'm charging for rent versus what's going on in the market. And I was telling Kamari, I was like, I can easily just double the rent. And if I double the rent, the market will pay me this double the rent. I was like, but out of all the properties I have, there isn't nobody that I rent to that isn't one of our people. So at what point am I cheating myself versus trying to look out for someone in the community? And the hard part about it is looking out for that person sometimes is not recognized or not even appreciated. But I can just easily double it. So that's kind of where the conversation started. It's like, I got these properties. I'm charging $1,000 per month, and the market's paying $2,100, $2,200, and I haven't raised rent in years. I could press the button and raise rent, send out a letter. Like I could do that, but I don't need the money, right? And that's not trying to sound arrogant or anything like that. So I'm actually looking out for one of our folks. So then the conversation was like, well, there's nothing wrong with looking out for one of our folks. I was like, yeah, that's a hard thing when I'm looking at what the market is giving, and I'm not maximizing my return. But I'm looking out for one of our folks. So what do you do in that situation where you're not? I'm in business, right? So in business, you want to, generate value,
maximize value. Yep.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I'm not maximizing value though, but I guess value is different. Value isn't always about dollars and cents, right? There's a social value that's there too.
So you don't want to be like
that's the fight. That's the fight right there.
Right. You don't want to be like Barry Gordy and Buffy, right? When he was like, everybody did it. Everybody raped everybody. So we should do it too because that's the standard, right? Everybody's raising rents in the city because that's the standard. But then when you take a step back and you say, all right, how much am I making? Right. I have these conversations with my clients all the time. How much am I making? Am I breaking even? Because again, in the rental game, a lot of my clients are rental real estate investors. Cost goes up every year.
Yes.
Real estate taxes going up. If you're in Philly, real estate taxes through the roof right now with the new assessments. So, you got to be prepared for that. Utilities are going up. The cost of construction or renovations is going up. Man, it's hard just getting contractors and handymen out these days, right?
My insurance went up like 50%. Like,
Yeah, right.
mhm.
Yeah, so there's cost all around the board, but you have to factor in a lot of things. In my opinion, you have to factor in again what your overall cost. You
Mhm.
said you don't need the money, so I'm guessing that there's probably a profit, but not maximum profit. So,
Yeah.
and this is the beautiful thing about capitalism, and that's why I bring up Ben and Jerry's, right? Or I'm sure there's others, right? You don't have to charge the top of the market. You
Mhm.
do have to charge though a going rate so you can remain profitable,
Mhm.
right? Because if you're not profitable, you're going to fail. Business is going to fail. But there's usually enough room now if you're like a supermarket where you have like 3% margins and you got to sell what it is or else you run out of business. You don't have that much wiggle room. However, I'm guessing without knowing the numbers, there's probably more than 3% that's there. And I believe you've had some of these properties for years, so you probably paid them down. You probably have interest rates when we had almost
No,
what
I do.
2% interest rates. So you're kind of padded yourself by making smart moves during good times,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, so I've been in the business over 25 years at this point, right? So,
Right.
I started in real estate as a teenager, but so I'm blessed, right? But what the conversation though is, how long do I do that? How long do I not charge market rate, right? And it's just it's a difficult thing to kind of like balance, because I am trying to look out for certain folks, right? But at the end of the day, I'm literally costing myself money. I'm
Right.
literally costing myself money, right? So and this, it goes deeper than just this one thing. We talk about this often as it pertains to all different lines of business.
Yeah.
Um, Trying to provide value without just hitting people over the head, for lack of a better term.
And then the community, some people in the community, let me be clear. Some people say, well, you're not doing enough for the community. You making money, you got all that property, but
Hmm.
they don't see the part where your insurances went up 50% and your
Hmm.
real estate tax might have gone up 50%. What's the real estate tax, the average that's going up for in Philly
Well,
right now, Jimmy?
well, the tax rate is 1.398%. So the value times the rate is 3.98%. But it all depends upon which property style you have, whether that's multifamily, single family,
But if you were to put a range, is it 40 to 50%, 30 to 40? What do you think?
no, it's a little less than that across board. Across the board, you're probably looking at like 20.
Around 20?
Mm-hmm.
And at the high end, you're seeing what? Because my
So,
dad's joint
so,
went
so
up like
at the high end, you're seeing like, you can see up to 50. You can see 50.
okay. Okay. So we're seeing rental property increases from anywhere from 20%. Now I know there's some other things, homestead
Yeah,
is
there's nuance to
increased.
that too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I get
there's a
that.
lot of nuance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the
but
thing is, that's not even the only thing increasing. Like I said,
I know, but I just wanted to give something concrete everybody could follow.
utilities. But this thing's happen. This is part of the business, right? This is
Hmm.
part of the real estate business. But it's with every business, right?
Absolutely.
When I look at every business I have, um, the costs are going up, right? And but I understand who my tenant is, and I also understand the clients that we serve. So it's only so much you can do. But there is some room there, right? So then the thing is this, and this is something else that I deal with as a black landlord, right? When I raise rents, I get like all kinds of backlash, even from my tenants. And I'm like, well, when you stayed in such and such property, he raised rent, you don't say anything to them, right? And that's
Who's
what
such and such? Come on. Come on. You
I
tell me
don't
who
want.
it is.
Listen, man. I don't want to, offend my political connects. But no, I'm joking. I'll say name Yakubian, right? So here's the thing.
So he's talking about the mayonnaise, people that look like mayonnaise, right? Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is they don't get the same backlash that I get, right?
Mhm.
And I understand why. It's history. It's history there too. I get it. But I'm thinking like, yo, I haven't raised your rent in a decade, and you coming at me for a small raise. But when you know what I mean, like, so I see, this is real life. It's not just like speculation or things that I've read. I'm experiencing this. So I just have a struggle with, how do you still serve our folks, right, and maximize profit? Is it possible?
Well, before we get into that, real quick, if you're just now joining in, make sure y'all join in.
Hey, yo,
Chime in into the
Don's out of
chat.
pocket, yo.
Uh,
I see Don Johnson. Yo, Don out
oh,
of pocket.
Don's always out of pocket. Shout out to Don Johnson. But for everybody that's new here, make sure y'all come in, chime in, tell me your name, tell me where you're hailing from so we can get busy and get to you. But so a lot of those things are cultural, right? Like you talk
Mhm.
about they give you more flack, but they don't give the non-black people flack. You know, that's a result of Willie Lynch, right? A lot of people don't believe in the Willie Lynch letter. While it's not real, a lot of the doctrine inside of it is true. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. But you know, I think it's a hard thing. But I think you're here to do business, and so I think you not being in the market hurts the community overall, right? That's true. Now, there's another story I want to share of Jimmy's real quick, because Jimmy's community minded. I'm community minded, right? That don't mean we're not capitalists. That don't mean we don't want to make money, but we're not willing to do it at any cost.
Yes.
I know Jimmy bought a property, and there was some young bull, and they're doing his thing.
Yeah.
Jimmy didn't call the cops. He went and talked to the young man and said, "Yo, I own the place. You got to leave." For our brothers and sisters who are purely capitalists, without the community in mind, they would have just called the cops. Now we know how things usually add up or wind up when black folks are involved with cops. A lot of times, not all the times, right? But it's a risk that we really don't got to take. Jimmy didn't want to take that risk.
I did. All right, so, but here's the funny thing. Some of our folks criticized me for that too.
I know.
On the block and they were like, "Should have called the cops on his ass. You shouldn't even gave him a chance." I'm like, "Look, I just didn't want to call the cops." I told him, "Look, I'm gonna give you a day. Just, you know what I mean, pack up and roll out, and no harm, no foul. You know what I mean? I'm about to start construction." Cool. And to the brother's credit, he didn't bark back, say anything crazy to me. He's like, "All right, Ohad, I appreciate it," and was gone. He literally was gone. But some of our folks, and you know, some of folks older than us, they were like coming at my neck about that. Why ain't you?
What'd they say?
Well, you knew he could have called the cops and got his ass locked up. I don't know why you know that kind of talk. And I'm like, man,
but you don't know that for certain either, though, right? So why?
I don't. I mean, listen, man. You know, I don't know what would have happened. I don't know what would have happened.
We don't know exactly what he was doing. We didn't see what he was doing.
I mean, he had stuff all over the spot. Like I knew what he was doing. Oh yeah, and his dog was in there too. Like he had so he was literally had his dog there protecting in case somebody else tried to come in. Is like, you know, so I mean, it was obvious, right? But at the end of the day, my thing is just get out of my way. Like I'm not going. This is my spot. We about to start construction. Roll out. You know what I mean? Simple as that. To his credit, he did do that. But I'm saying I got criticized for that as well. So no matter what approach you take, right? No matter what decision you make in this world, people gonna have a problem with it. So you gotta live with it. It is what it is. But you do try to be community minded in more ways than one. But the fact is, when you try to stand in the middle of, say, capitalism and, to use your term, woke, that term is so crazy at this point. But to be conscious or whatever you want to say, you get stuff thrown at you from both sides.
But listen, woke has been hijacked. We all know what woke means. But it's funny to me now because the Keeblers have taken the word and they've used it the way they want. They weaponized it. And a lot of us have fallen for it. So
yeah, we have. But I'm just saying, like, you get criticized on both sides, right?
Yeah.
So if you go to extreme to one side, then you know you kind of get protection from being on that one side. But trying to operate in the middle is always a little dangerous because and again, I have friends on both sides of the spectrum. I have friends that are total capitalists, friends that are totally like just, you know, like I told you, they just walk around in dashikis and speak Swahili, right? And they come on my neck talking about all you care about is money. I'm like, nah, that's not true. Then my capitalist folks be like, look, forget all that. We just got here to make money and take care of our family, right? So trying to operate in the middle is a little funny, man.
All right, so I wanna play this clip real quick, and I want to get your thoughts on it.
Yes, sir.
The question is, how do you define wealth? Is wealth your ability to go to the store and buy a garment, some shoes, a car, a flat screen TV? Is that really wealth? Wealth does not start from access to material things. Wealth starts with your possession of knowledge. If we don't possess knowledge that guides us into how to create wealth, then we'll talk about wealth, but we'll never have it because we don't have the requisite knowledge that would allow us to be a creator of wealth.
And so I love playing that clip. I love, first of all, shout out to the minister, right? I love that clip because I feel like we talk about wealth in the wrong context.
Mhm.
And since we talk about wealth in the wrong context, everything else is talked about wrong. From capitalism to all the isms, we talk about it wrong. And we haven't taken the time to educate ourselves.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
What do you
First
think
of
about
all,
that?
First of all, shout out to the brother minister, man. Like, he's one of the greatest orators. Like, regardless of whether you feel about him or what he says,
Facts.
his ability to speak is just like, he's top five. I mean, like, he's top five. He just is, right? But the thing about that is, so I was actually at a funeral yesterday. And rest in power to my brother Dwayne.
My condolences.
Yeah, so I was at a funeral yesterday, and as I'm sitting there listening to Reverend Waller did the eulogy, and I'm listening to him speak, and I was sitting there thinking about all the funerals I've been to in my entire life, and I know people from all walks of life. Just through my walk, I've met people through all different walks of life, and I was like, I'm sitting there thinking about it, like, I've never heard anyone talk about their net worth at their funeral, right?
Mm-hmm.
They talk about what they've done for others, how they made others feel, like, so that's what I thought of when I just heard that clip. Is it's about the value you add to society, but not necessarily monetarily, but it's still about value. At the end of the day, it's still about value. It's just, again, value comes in all different forms and fashions. There's social value, love is value, right? And we talk about Black love all the time. So
Gotta give you the horns for that, brother.
yeah, so I kind of think that's what true wealth is. True wealth is what value do you add to your people? You know what I mean? So if that is being a capitalist and being able to bring that money back to your people, but again, some people just focus on capitalism for monetary things. You know what I mean? Like for the lifestyle stuff. There's a lot of lifestyle stuff going on in our community where it's not really community minded or really about helping each other. It's really about living a completely different lifestyle.
Yeah, everybody's not trying to be Nino Brown, right? Everybody's not trying to be the Mac or somebody from Superfly. I get that, but I guess I just wonder why the community, and I'm speaking Black community, I'm speaking generally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have such a negative connotation when it comes to making money? Like you're automatically the devil if you made some money.
Well, look, I mean, we've been stomped on so many times throughout history, right? And most of the time, the people stomping on us are those that have wealth, power, and influence. So there's a negative connotation associated with being in business or having money. When you watch TV, most of the time, a lot of times these bad guys are wealthy folks, right? They make them out to be the evil person. There's not who's really a socially conscious capitalist or business person really in pop culture. You really don't have too many.
Yeah, but I mean, while Black people control pop culture,
Mm-hmm.
once we create it, we're pushed to the outskirts of Black.
But I'm saying you combine that with what has happened to us historically, right?
I get that. I get that.
So, and
but
again,
I think there's enough if you want to do the work, right? So, I'm a hip hop head, right? And I always hear this saying, good hip hop isn't played on the radio. Mm-hmm. Well, technically, good hip hop was never really played on the radio.
True.
Because you had to find it. You had to get a mixtape. You had to listen to Lady B on Sunday from the beginning. Mm-hmm. You had to listen to Kobe Cole with Radioactive. And then as it became mainstream, it was, centrally programmed and they did what they wanted. But we've always had to search and find for those gems. When did we get to the point where we want to get lazy when we want to find value?
Well, I mean, you can make the argument that's always happened too, right? You just named a couple things in our community and our culture that have been elevated to the point where everyone knows what you're talking about when you say the Mac or Superfly, right? That's how old is that?
70s. I guess I'm showing my age.
I mean, yo, but listen though, a shot to Goldie and Ron O'Neal. But at the end of the day, like when you look at what those brothers were doing, I mean, so this isn't a new thing. This isn't a new phenomenon, right?
It's not.
No idea is original. There's nothing new under the sun.
There's nothing new under the sun. That's a fact.
Never what you do, but how it's done.
That's a fact. That's a fact. But again, I still wonder, right? Because there are these emphases, right? Look at what A.G. Gaston's, right? Man died $100 billion. He amassed all this money during Jim Crow era.
Yes.
He bailed out Dr. Martin Luther King.
Absolutely.
That shows a great case of why it is important to have some money so you can do some things to further the fight for the people.
Now let me ask you this question, right? So that's a great point, and there's a number of stories, not just him, but other folks who are business owners. Right?
Correct.
How many of us even know who A.G. Gaston is?
I don't know. To the listening audience,
I talk to people every day. Most people have no idea who A.G. Gaston is. I know Don does.
Right.
Matter of fact, I think that's Don's logo on his
right, exactly.
Right, but, so he does, but most people have no idea.
Hold on. So for everybody in the listening audience, put a 1 in the chat if you know who A.G. Gaston is, and if you put a 1 in the chat if you know who A.G. Gaston is, and if you're watching the replay, put a 1 in the chat and let me know if you know who A.G. Gaston is.
And be honest too, right? Now I know. Also, right, the sample that comes in here is going to be a little bit different because they watch the Finance Rebel show. So if you watch the Finance Rebel show, you probably know who A.G. Gaston is.
Probably because I talk about him all the time.
But when I say that, I'm talking about the masses. You understand what I'm saying when I say that, right?
Absolutely. But there's examples all the time, right? I know you probably won't hate this one, but like, look at what Jay-Z's done with Lil Wayne, with 21 Savage. He paid Lil Wayne's tax bill. He helped 21 Savage get citizenship, paid his lawyer fees, right? I know other people have other things, but there's a whole host of people who've done things, who've made some money to contribute to overall Black movement, Black progression forward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I guess I don't understand why there is such strife and pushback on all of this.
I mean, because again, you got to look at where we come from. You got to look at how we've been treated, right? How we've been treated as a people, and who's been treating us that way. And a lot of times, our self-esteem is beaten down. We don't see ourselves a lot of times as being able to achieve certain things, so therefore we just shun it completely, right? So the other part of that is when we do look into that, a lot of times we start to chase the lottery ticket because now we're trying to skip steps. Right. So a lot of this is about building. It's not about just becoming. It's about building. A lot of times we want to become things, but we don't want to take what you don't want to do the work that it takes to build. We just want to become. We want to be able to buy a course on Instagram and then, in 2 weeks, I'm a real estate guru.
So I'll push back on that. I don't think we want to become, because becoming is a process. We just want to be. We don't want no parts of the journey. But go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying, though. We don't want to do the work. We just want to become this thing. Like we want to be this thing, right? So that's semantics. But we're saying the same thing. We don't want to do the work, right? We just want to, take shortcuts, which is why a lot of times we get harmed because some folks in our community are just pure capitalists. They don't care about the community, and then you end up giving somebody your money and getting nothing in return. So also. Now, when that happens, how do you look at business and capitalism? When you've given somebody $50, $60, $100,000, you have nothing left, right? And so I'm saying there are reasons why. How do we get past it? That's a whole different conversation. But there are reasons why our folks are the way they are.
But I see a lot of people say, I'll never buy stock again because I lost a whole bunch of money in the market. However, they might have a car accident and get in the car and drive the very next day. Right. Mm-hmm. And not only that, people, when we're going back to business, they haven't taken the time to educate themselves fully. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even talking about having a difference of opinion, but like I talk to people, I stop talking at that certain point because one, I'm feeling like I'm going to offend them and I don't want to do that. I really want to move in love with everything I do. Mm-hmm. But it's like, you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. So it becomes hard for me. It becomes a struggle. And if you are really serious about your people, I feel like you got to understand all this stuff, in my opinion. You don't got to be an expert.
Well, a lot of times that requires work. That's not a quick fix. It's not sexy to say either, right? So it's not sexy to say. So, the stuff that we deal with and we struggle with and we fight against every day. Because what you're talking about is real work. You're talking about actual study. You're talking about dedicating time, right? So these are things that have to happen for you to have a full understanding. People want to take a limitless pill and just be all powerful tomorrow, right? So
They want that red pill. They want Neo's red pill.
So this is what you're fighting against. And then when you look at what you said, A.G. Gaston, I like that example that you gave, right? And I see the Black Fortunes book behind you, which is an important book that I think that a lot of folks should read. There are a number of stories in there, right? That's one of my favorite, very powerful books. But if you take that book and take some of the case studies in that book and you talk to the average person, you don't know that. I mean, most people I talk to, when I ask them about their experience growing up and who they learned about, unless they come from a conscious household, it's just like in school, we just learned about Dr. King. They don't even get Malcolm, right? So they just get Dr. King. They just force fed Dr. King every year, 1 month a year. Right?
Well, we'll get a little Malcolm, but we don't get whole Malcolm. Man,
listen, I've talked to people, they don't get Malcolm. Like Malcolm is a little bit more palatable now. But when we were coming up, a lot of schools, a lot of things didn't even talk about Malcolm, right?
No, the schools didn't. No, they did not. No.
But that's what I'm talking about. Yes. So we're fortunate enough to come from communities and people that we didn't have to get all of our education in the classroom, right, per se. So we were exposed to an A.G. Gaston, right? We were exposed to these people. Like we were, Black enterprise was put in front of us. So we were able to see people that looked like us that had accomplishments and were accomplishing things. And, although we need more than representation, we can't fool ourselves and say representation doesn't matter. It does matter.
Absolutely.
Right? But it can't matter by itself in a vacuum. We need a lot of other things outside of just representation, because a lot of times we're just given representation.
That is a fact. That is a fact. But, one of the things when I have these discussions, right, being woke versus having money or making money, I always ask them, so what's your path to success? How do you plan on winning? How do you see us winning? What steps will it take? What moves need to be made? What do you need to do in order to play your part in this advancement? And a lot of people don't have that. They don't have an answer to that question. And I find it weird. I guess I'm getting old. I'm becoming a crotchety old man.
Well, first off, you said what moves have they made? So you said so we. That's why I get pushback right there. People start hitting me with the Uncle Phil Jones. We, like, you know what I mean?
No, but then I also said, what moves do you need to make, right?
Yeah, for we, like
and
for
you,
us.
and you,
yes,
right?
For us, you need to make for us. Yes. Most people don't want to have that conversation because a lot of us practice, rugged individualism. So we don't even want to talk about what the moves we personally have to make for us.
Okay, so we think everything is all about pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
No. But you said, do I think
rugged? No, not you. You're talking about the we.
Oh, the masses, right?
The
generalized
we, right?
So that is something that I fight against a lot. I fight against that a lot. Where people are like, look, man, I hear you and all. Ain't nothing changing. I'm just gonna look out for me and mine.
Now, I do think pull yourself up by the bootstraps should be a part of our conversation. Me and Don Johnson. Shout out to Don Johnson. Matter of fact, Don gets the horns because Don is always on deck. Thank you, sir. But
if you got boots,
you got to have boots. But that is a part of the conversation. It's a small part. It's not everything, but it is a part of it because pulling yourself up by the bootstraps just means you're taking agency over yourself. And you're doing the best you possibly can do with what you have. And a lot of times we have people just like, what you gonna do? I don't know. I'm gonna live on my mama's couch. I'm gonna stay at my girlfriend's house, right? I'm gonna live off this dude. Not thinking about what progress they're going to make or anything else they're going to do. So how do you reconcile that?
Man, whew. What you're talking about is accountability, right? So that's the thing about, me and you have Black wealth conversations all the time. And I guess at the end of the day, it's not just one thing.
No.
Right? We have work to do on so many fronts, whether we talk about whether we're talking about money or we're talking about the legal system, the education system, what's going on with our food in our communities. Like, we have so many fights that have to happen. That's a fight too. It's a huge fight about accountability. What I hear you say is accountability. And that is a conversation that we have to have. It's a tough conversation, something that, but we definitely have to hold ourselves to a higher standard, right? So I agree with you. I don't disagree at all, right? But I also think that it's context to that too, because a lot of times we use that as an excuse and we ignore the systems that are around that don't allow people to have boots to begin with. you can't ignore that and just say pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We have to make sure that people have what they need to pull them. That's why I said you got to have boots first, right? So
and the strings.
So it's not a simple conversation, and people
Right.
try to make things black and white. Like I see this all the time. People just try to make things black and white. I put out a video about a book on our YouTube channel. It's about the banking system. And someone says, man, in this country, all you gotta do is work hard. And there's no sense in even talking about these black issues. There are no black issues, just work hard. Like somebody said that. This is 2023. 2023. I'm like, okay.
All right, now hold that thought. I want to play another clip. Now check this out.
Nothing that you can get involved in that history won't be an asset for, and the key to history of no matter what it is reading. And so once I realized that I said, I'm gonna read about anything that I want to know, I'm gonna read about it. And I just read my way out of every situation that I've ever been in.
Being a student of the game.
You're well read, and we have your book now to read and also learn from, man. What are you most proud of about the book?
The ability for the book to show people, younger people and other people, how far we've come and how important it is for us to read and find out and know our history. That's what this is. This is a book about the history of at the bottom. What it's like to be at the bottom and rise up from the bottom. That's what I wanted to
conquer the world.
Yeah.
So to your point, right, Jimmy, a lot of people don't understand that. And that point there, I feel, was made very eloquently. For those who don't know, that was Dapper Dan. Now, I'm from the Get Fly 80s, right? So Dapper Dan is a staple in the culture. If you don't know about Dapper Dan, look up his story. It's definitely inspirational, right? My man didn't have nothing. He didn't have nothing, built something, lost it all, and then built it back up again. So when you talk about building your stuff up by your bootstraps, Jimmy's right. You do need some boots. You do need some laces, right? Hopefully those boots don't have holes in the soles, and you can keep moving and walk through the snow when it gets, or the rain, when things get crazy. But that point he made though about reading and understanding your history, I feel that's why people take pulling yourself up out of bootstraps way out of context. Yeah. And they apply it to everything. It's like, no, redlining was real. Slavery was real. Jim Crow was real. KKK is real. Crack cocaine's real. All of these things are real. All of these things have been major, major obstacles, impediments, threats to the Black community. So you definitely have to keep that in context.
And by the way, the name of that book is How the Other Half Banks. I did see that question in the chat. It's How the Other Half Banks is the book that I did. So I do like 60-second book reviews on our YouTube channel. But that was one of the comments that I was just reading, and I'm like, I mean, this is how some people think, that you just pull yourself from your bootstraps. You ignore everything else. You ignore history, and you can't do that. You just can't.
I don't know. I think some people think. So you did that book review. I'm looking for it now. Was that a short you did, Jimmy?
Yeah, it's a short on YouTube. It's also on IG and TikTok.
You just covering them all.
Yeah, but that was an excellent book though, How the Other Half Banks. Definitely a good book, but it talks about how we kind of have two different banking systems in this country and how it exacerbates the wealth gap. But the point is, like, somebody just made that comment to it, and I was like, okay, it is what it is, man. So, but I think Don makes an excellent point, as do you, right? That's a conversation. So there's a lot of tough conversations that we have to have with our people, but we have to have them. My problem is a lot of times we like to have them in mixed company, right? Well, that's.
I mean, listen, we're doing this right now, mixed company, whether we know it or not, right? Everything.
No, this is true, right?
Just mixed company.
But also have empathy too. You know what I mean? A lot of us don't tend to have empathy because, I mean, here's the fact of the matter, man. Like the times we're living in now, we're privileged. Some will say things haven't changed. I disagree with that. Things have changed. I have elders I talk to. They don't have the ability to just get up and do some of the things that I do on a daily basis, where they didn't have in those times. Right. So we are privileged, but I think a lot of times the same way we get mad at the sheetrock people for not acknowledging their privilege. Sometimes we don't acknowledge our privilege of just like from a timing standpoint.
Right.
So we have to have empathy when we talk with our folks. You know what I mean? Especially when you actually put boots to the ground and you really get out and talk to people. And that's one of the things that I recognize too, is that a lot of our folks that are commenting on the community now, they don't have boots on the ground. They don't talk to people.
No,
right?
they don't.
So Corey and I go to prisons and teach classes. We go to the Youth Study Center and teach classes. And when I hear those young brother stories, I get a different perspective. When I hear about how they were abused physically, emotionally, sexually, and they turn to the streets as a way to kind of like, get back at being touched or being taken advantage of.
Because that's all they have.
You get a whole different perspective as someone who's never talking to the people or getting in front of the people. You're just looking at them like, oh, they're just deviants.
Right.
Oh, they're just this. Oh, they're just that. So we got to have tough conversations because, again, some of these things are still wrong. What you did was still wrong, but just have that empathy when you speak with your people. And a lot of us don't have that. We just want to throw people away. And I ain't about that life. Not our folks.
I agree wholeheartedly, but I wanna see this book, brother, this book review. So let's jump into that real quick. If you're just watching, right, just jump into the chat, tell us your name, tell us where you're hailing from, and tell us, what do you think? Should Black people just focus on getting money or just focus on being woke? Now let's jump into this real quick.
Of how the other has banks in less than 60 seconds. This book was written by Professor Mirza Baradaran and released in 2015. The book breaks down how America has a two-tiered banking system, one for the wealthy and one for everyone else. The legendary James Baldwin once said, anyone who has ever struggled with poverty knows how extremely expensive it is to be poor. And if you spend any time in the inner city, you understand the role check cashing places and payday lenders play, which contributes to this two-tiered system. This book talks about not only why this has happened, but also gives recommendations on how to fix the two-tiered system. I would recommend this book because it gives a historical context to why some of the issues we see in 2023. Really, the only. This is a by the hood book review of how the other. It's all good. That was towards the end anyway, brother.
My bad. That sounds dope. I think I'm going to read that book now.
Yeah, it's an excellent book.
Okay.
Shout out to Dwight. I knew Dwight would have read it because Dwight reads everything, yo.
Yo, listen, Dwight is the historian. But real quick, let's pause real quick. Let's talk to the folks. We ain't talk to the folks. I missed last week. I apologize. I was avalanched by tax returns. Tax season is now over. Well, actually, tax season never ends. So it's tax preparation season is over. Tax planning season starts now. So hopefully y'all are planning. If you don't have a tax plan, you ain't got a wealth plan. So get y'all stuff together. All right. So Lawrence says, too many of us out too much validity on street cred. All right. Too many of us put too much validity on street cred versus real credit, running the block versus owning a home, securing a bag versus having real wealth. I would agree with that. All right. Being woke is essentially being that. I don't agree with that, brother. Don't. Especially when the bill, the rents are. So I believe you can do both. And I think it is vital for the existence of Black people for us to do both. As Shannon Sharp would say, both. B-O-U-F. Both.
B-O-F-F. Both.
Right. All right. Laura said too many of us put too much. You said that already. On a journey to destroy the community. Yeah, but a lot of people.
No, what he's talking about with that, when he wrote that comment, he was talking about when I was talking about the example of folks that like destroy the community, but they tell you that, okay, well, I made enough capital, now I'm just going to give back. And we're supposed to look at them as just being given back, but like just ignoring what they did to get the capital to begin with.
Listen, man, them turkeys on Thanksgiving mean a lot to people.
That's always wild to me anyway, when they be doing turkey giveaways and folks ain't got no way. What they going to do with it?
I don't know, man. I guess give it away, sell it, maybe.
Yeah, to go give money to buy more drugs, right? Okay. Yep.
What's up, Dwight? Thank you for joining us.
Please.
All right, so Lawrence says, I'm waiting for the day that Black people are allowed to live outside the construct of race, capitalism, wokeness, etc., to merely be without the baggage. Well, in order to do that, we have to fight for it. And I don't know if we'll see that in our lifetime. What do you think about that, Jim?
I don't think we will. Cornel West has a book. It's called Race Matters. And he talks about how people want to just live outside the construct of race, but you can't avoid it no matter what you're dealing with in this country. Any system that we go to, race will matter. It just does. It's sad to say, but it is.
Yep.
You know?
Still Rocks 33 says, truth be told, probably be lyrically like Talib Kweli. Excellent, Larry. Thank you for joining us. Still Rocks. Appreciate you. Nicole Aubrey's in the building. What's up, sis? The cost of everything is going up. I had to raise prices because of my overall expenses. Fact. Nicole, we still got honey? I ain't got no promotion for the honey. What we selling? Talk to me. We like to talk business.
Rochelle, what's up, family?
What's up, Rochelle? Akira, what up? You know what? I meant to get the horns of Rochelle, too. Get the horns of Rochelle. Oh, Dave Foster's in the building.
Legend. What's up, Dave?
Areas, real estate agent mogul? What's up, Dave? The little hat people.
Stop talking about my folks, man.
I need to know how to say this. Is it what up TV? What up TV? But anyway, thank you for joining us, brother. All right, Nicole says even selling raw. All right, you still do. I messed that up. You still have the honey, great. Even with selling raw honey, I get people that would rather pay the market prices and complain about my prices. All right, well, listen, I need some honey. Holla at me. I brought some before. You know,
how do we buy honey from Nicole? I want to support too.
Yeah, Nicole, hit us up and I'll connect you with Jimmy.
Okay.
Save that dude some time upstate. Yes, indeed. Talking about Jimmy's debacle or run-in. Don Johnson says you can add value to the community without adding value to those individual people. Sometimes people that aren't community minded shouldn't be protected by those who are. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's something I struggle with my entire life, and my mom used to tell me, like, you can't save everybody. Like, you know, and again, I'm not perfect. I struggle with that at times. Like, I know that sometimes you just got to let people go.
Right. Robert Lewis is in the building. All right, that's top mortgage man right there. Thank you for joining us, Robert. All right, Don Johnson says, then when the scammers get elevated too high. So I'm still befuddled by all the scammers who've been outed, still have massive followings. I don't get it. Jimmy, they're all about to start a church now.
That's always the next move, yo. Always the next move.
Facts. Nia's perspective. What's up, sis? How you doing? That's my sis right there, Nia. All right. I don't know what you're saying. Yes, you are. I lost that point. I'm getting old, y'all. I'm getting old. All right. So the whitest heard of A.G. Gaston's, of course. Don Johnson has heard of A.G. Gaston's. His book.
Said, bro, this is a cheat code. This sample right here is not indicative of our overall community, man.
That's
like,
all right. I'm still
if y'all in tune with the Finance Rebel, I already know that y'all already.
That's all right. That means I'm doing my job. So let me get my flowers off, bro. Marvin says he knows about AG, and Robert Lewis knows about AG. All right. Don Johnson says then we be pushed. There will be pushback based on what side you come. Being the same skin complexion doesn't mean we're playing the same team. That's a fact.
Yeah, man.
Every brother ain't a brother because of color. Chuck D told us that a long time ago.
All your skin folk and kinfolk.
Right. Dwight says there are a lot of folks that don't read or study. That's a fact. I find that amazing, but I guess because I'm a nerd. You know, name that book, please. Jimmy did already. Martin said it's cruel. It's cruel just to ask a bootless man to pull himself up by his bootstraps. I would agree. Dwight says great book. Okay. All right. Nicole says black people should get both. I'm a business owner and give back to the community when I can and also make money. Facts. Yeah. I'm with it. So with it. Don Johnson says if you really had to choose one or the other, the answer is get the bag. Every problem in the community can be helped by having resources. Yes and no.
Well, I like the way he wrote that because I was getting ready to push back on that, but then I realized he didn't say fix, he said helped.
Yeah, but
so I get what he's saying. It can be helped.
But sometimes you can add money to a bad situation to make it worse.
Yeah, a lot of our issues are mental health issues.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But again, he said helped. You can help with that too with some resources.
You can. You can. Oh, all right. Aubrey Sweet Acre Farms, 856-476-4498. Aubrey Sweet Acre Farms at yahoo.com. Okay. All right. Do I get a cut for my commercial ad just now? So Aubrey Sweet Acre Farms, phone number 856-476-4498. Aubrey Sweet Acre Farms at yahoo.com. And Aubrey is spelled AUBEESWEETACRE Farms at yahoo.com. And I brought Nicole some honey before. I've known her for years. We're friends, but I brought her honey. It was great. Actually, getting local honey during this season is actually kind of good for you because I be having mad allergies.
Man, listen.
Mad allergies. All right. Dr. T's in the building. That's the LinkedIn legend over there. What's up, lady? How you doing?
I need to learn how to better use LinkedIn.
Yeah, me too. Matter of fact, Dr. T, I'm supposed to have you on this show. I've asked you before. We need to connect. Bawana says the battle of the big beards. Nah, I cut mine down. Jimmy's winning. I can't win. My beard be all in my mouth. I can't eat right. It's crazy. It's crazy.
A lifestyle, man. You gotta know how to like, make this move, like,
Yes, I do need a piece of that money. Absolutely. All right. Nicole says, yeah, I will message you and send. Okay, thank you. And I'm buying. I want to buy it. I'm joking. I want to buy. I want to buy. So what we gonna do, man? We gonna stay woke? We gonna pump our fists? What we gonna do?
I mean, I think that, the answer that people say you do both, obviously, and we do both, like, in terms of we give away a whole lot, right? So speaking of, while I'm here, I'm also mentioning it, our camp is coming up this summer, By the Hood Camp. We're going to start accepting folks for the camp probably in the beginning of May or mid-May. Our camp runs every week in July. To get more information, go to bythehoodcamp.com, and you can see some of the work that we do in the community with our camp. So that's just one aspect of what we do at our camp. We literally do giveaways every week. Shout out to our brother Don, who's won several of our giveaways. But
Don's everywhere.
Yeah, Don is everywhere, yo. Don is everywhere. But you got to be able to do both. But the thing is, sometimes it's difficult to do both. Is kind of what the conversation that me and Kamari had, which led to me, popping up tonight. Because it just is. It's very difficult to do both at a high level because you need to sometimes charge more to be able to put back in the business to get your business to grow a certain way. And that's another part of it too, Kamari. If I'm not maximizing profit, am I doing myself a disservice in terms of being able to grow my business, right? Now, when I grow my business, I'm able to employ more folks. So I slow that up by not charging market prices. You see what I'm saying? So it's a difficult thing.
I think every situation is going to be case by case.
Yeah.
Right. Every situation is going to be case by case. For me, I tell people though, the standard should be excellence across the board though. And so, Jimmy, I'm sure your product that you're putting on the market is good. You're not a slumlord.
No, definitely slumlords. I say definitely slumlords. Here's the thing, right? So, but every time I buy a property or do a development project, like I'm putting money in Black folks' pocket, right?
Absolutely, because I'm sure some of your construction folks and
my plumber's Black, my GC's Black, my electrician is Black, my property manager is a Black person. I hold a real estate license. I work at an all-Black real estate firm. Shout out to Mosaic. So I'm surrounded by nothing but our folks that get money off of every project I do. I have Black appraisers, Black mortgage bankers and brokers. So, but the thing is, and all my tenants are Black. I don't have any tenant that isn't a Black person. So with that being said, sometimes not maximizing profit on that way is not allowing me to put my money into professional folks' pocket. But at the same time, I'm doing a service for some of those folks that I'm not charging market rate because they get to live in a quality project. And I don't want the term project should be used. They get into the quality. When I say project, I just mean real estate project. A quality house at an affordable rate. right? And right now we're definitely struggling with affordable housing. So
Struggle is an understatement.
It's an understatement, but the only way that's going to solve that is not going to be big conglomerates coming in to solve that. It's the everyday mom and pops, people that can solve that issue. But I definitely think about that. I think about the fact that, okay, I'm not maximizing the scale this one way, which still helps our people. So it's just that battle, right? And I don't need price gouge either. Go though.
But again, right, we're talking about real estate. So you can make money in real estate two ways, right? You can make it off the cash flow, you can make it off the appreciation.
Yes.
So you're still making money, but it's probably more so on the appreciation.
So it's unrealized appreciation. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
I have no complaints about appreciation.
Right. So it's still a win-win, so to speak. But I feel more of us need to think about what are the win-wins. And listen, I tell people all the time, I'm not a black-owned business. I'm a business owner that happens to be black, meaning that I'm striving to be excellent in every facet of that, because some people use black-owned business as a crutch. Like, I can give you substandard service. No, I can't. I got to try to stand up every day for any mistakes I make, because I do make mistakes, right? My team might make some mistakes. I got to stand up for them, and they're standing up for me. So it's a complicated thing, but that should be the mindset, to try to be great and try to do the very best you can. And that does cost money, but there's some other things that could come along with it, right? Because if you have a great tenant and they appreciate the below market rate rent, and they don't tear up your shit, because we all see the horror stories, right?
Yeah.
That's a savings. That's a savings. So, you can win a couple ways.
Yeah, and to Nicole's point, right? So sometimes when you try to operate with excellence and provide a good product or service, you want to charge for that product or service.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes that's tough too. Our folks want the hookup.
Oh, they always want the hookup.
They ingrained to ask for the hookup. You know what I mean? So, but I think that the answer is also what a couple people in the chat said. You have to do both. I think one of the issues is, on a massive scale, most of us aren't even thinking about this.
Right. That was why I thought it was, and you thought it was a great conversation to have.
Yeah.
Because again, we have to stay woke, and not the way that the Santos down south was talking about it. We're talking about being aware of what's going on. Black folks are being attacked at every angle. So whether it's political, like Jimmy said, environmental, water, everything. And if we're not paying attention, we just want to get sucked up. So
yeah,
look who's in the building. Superstar.
Legend. Chad.
Thanks for tuning in, man. Thanks for tuning in.
Legend Chaz.
Yep. I just got her class. I didn't get a chance to check it out yet, because I've been buried under tax season. So I'm gonna check that out soon.
Yeah, man. I'm glad to see you still around, man. I know how tax season gets for you.
Yeah, I should be somewhere asleep right now, but I try to stay consistent with this. This is probably my one highlight of the week. I have many, but one of the ones I really, really look forward to. So what should we be doing, Jimmy? Like, we should be staying woke. How do we stay woke? We should be making money. How should we make money?
Funny thing is, as you're talking about that, I was sitting there thinking, like, in terms of what it means to be woke, right? It's just to be conscious of what's going on, to be aware. Right. And a lot of that goes back to what Dwight said. A lot of us need to just read more and study, man. Because the foundation has already been laid, the blueprint is there, but a lot of us don't even get the lesson. A lot of our ancestors have put down on the pen and paper what the answers to a lot of our problems are. But if we don't ever get those answers because we're not reading, so we definitely have to just stay abreast of what's going on, man. Reading is so powerful. Reading is so powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
Very powerful. All right. So Nicole says, in the raw honey business, I have to market myself as a black woman because this is a white dominated field. I get that. There are not many black beekeepers. That's a fact. That is a fact.
Yeah, Nicole's the first one I ever heard of. So shout out to Nicole.
Yeah. She's definitely, a buddy of mine does it with his kids, but I don't know if he actually sells the honey. They do it more as like a hobby. Mm-hmm. So I know Nicole's been doing this for a couple of years now. So, that's why you have to do it even more, right? You're needed. Shout out to Thad. So why isn't being financially fit in the woke diaspora? I would agree.
That's a great question.
I would agree Sadly, though, and we touched on this a little bit earlier. I asked Jimmy, why is getting money legally always kind of looked down upon and frowned upon?
Mm-hmm.
And in this country and around the world, we have crazy relationships with financial systems. If you can remember, Black folks could not move on the stock market at all. Again, that book, Black Fortunes, that Jimmy mentioned and I highlighted, they talk about that, right? Real estate. There's still craziness going on in the real estate sector. John Johnson, the creator of Ebony and Jet, talks about there's a time when he was going to buy a building in Chicago downtown. He had to send his white lawyer to do it. He couldn't buy it because he was Black. He had to send a proxy, and he went in and acted like a janitor. So, right, and now we're still having issues with appraisers. White appraisers are disproportionately underrepresenting the cost or the value of Black homes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have all these complicated relationships with financial things and financial issues. I would say that's part of the reason why many of us kind of push back. But I also think it's the reason why we should go in deeper and really figure out what the real jewels are.
When you start to study about the Freedmen's Bank, right, and what happened to the Freedmen's Bank, I mean, that's just like, tragic. So even times when we've taken up, putting the work in to build something, it's been destroyed by the powers that be. And you mentioned also like Wall Street, being locked out of Wall Street. Have you ever read the book, The Prince of Darkness? It's about Jeremiah Hamilton.
Yeah, the brother from Haiti. He was Haitian. I started to have the audiobook. I couldn't get into it.
Okay.
It was so.
But if you read that, well, first of all, he wasn't a nice human being, according to the book about his life. Well, when they write a book about your life and they still describe you as being a terrible human being, you must have been terrible, right? but the point is, he was locked out of Wall Street. But he was so intelligent in terms of understanding where markets move that he had to get a white proxy, and the white proxy did it because he was going to make his piece too. But
listen, they always gonna get their piece.
Oh, they're gonna get their piece. But the thing is, though, when you read that book and they talk about just the lengths he had to go through to be able to participate in the markets, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like a lot of times we don't even think about the kind of privilege we have in terms of when we're being born. Right? We're living in a world now where we can just open up our phone and in 2 seconds have a brokerage account and be able to trade, invest, and do all these things. When a lot of our ancestors didn't have that ability. I used to joke with my mom. I'd be like, I used to show her these charts. So like, look, if you bought one share Coca-Cola on this, she's like, she'd be like, boy, first of all, I'm trying to survive. That's one. And two, I knew nothing about that. And I didn't have access to it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've been kept out of things for such a long time that we just turned our back on it. But I think that is part of the conversation. I like that question that Daddy has brought up, because I would venture to say that if you're not taking care of your finances and you're not doing what it takes to kind of have your family prepared, then you're not even fully woke. You can't be woke if you're not financially fit. That's the way I look at it.
Facts. Oh man, we got the brother Kill here. All this math is in the building. All right, so I think this is an issue. What the end goal of wealth accumulation is. Do we want wealth so we can buy Ferraris and live lavishly and be disconnected from the Black collective? Or do we want it? I'm just saying, just want it. You should have caught us about 30 minutes ago.
I just talked about that, Kill, but me and Kill have these conversations too. So we already have the understanding about what it means, right? And is there enough of us that even are having this conversation or thinking about being conscious as it pertains to capitalism? That's the question I would have for you. Do you think there's enough of us even having this conversation or thinking this way?
Well, hold that thought, right? I want to play this.
Okay.
I think because we have undercounted ourselves and underestimated ourselves, we've quite forgotten that we were never a minority. As 1 billion African people on the face of the earth, we can create industries overnight if we decided that we don't wear no underwear we don't make. We don't eat no food that don't come from one of our farms. We don't sleep on no mattress that we don't make. We don't bury our loved ones in any coffins we don't make. We take the coffin industry away from the mafia. We've forgotten our great potential as a people.
So I think it's rough, right? But I wanted to play that because I think that's an awesome clip. If you don't know who that is, there's Dr. John Henry Clark, right? He's a mentor in my mind all the time. Dr. John Henry Clark. A lot of great stuff, a lot of works. Look him up. I think everybody should check out the great doctor. Jimmy, what was that question again?
Are there enough of us that even think this is really an issue, right? Are there enough of us that actually practice capitalism that are even thinking about, being conscious or thinking of the collective?
So I would say no, because most people in general don't know what capitalism is. Most black people have no clue what capitalism is. What is capitalism? It's just private ownership of a business or some kind of investment. Socialism and communism is the state owning your stuff or having a bigger role in your thing. And I always say to folks that if you really think about it, black people always have a problem when you have too much government involvement, at least in the last 400 or 500 years. So we want to stay away from big government involvement and everybody getting involved in your stuff and overtaxing you for everything. Inside of capitalism, you can be a capitalist however way you want to be it.
Yeah.
And as we talked about it earlier, right? People are going to people. So we see bad capitalists, we see bad socialists, we see bad communists. So the common denominator for the evil, because that's the real issue, it's people. It's not the system or the ism. It's the people that are operating inside of those isms. And at the end of the day, most people are super selfish. Yeah. They only care about themselves. And if you really think about any real wealth creation, it's always a group activity.
Always.
When you look at boards of directors on Ford or GM or I don't want to say Tesla, but Tesla, any of these great companies is a board. There's a bunch of minds sitting around trying to figure out how to best coordinate capital, land, labor, equipment, right? They try to figure out how to do it.
Those are the agents of production, land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship.
Yep.
That's economics right there. But listen, I wonder, Dwight, I was talking to Kamari earlier about the book, Capitalist Nigger. You might have to bleep that out because I ain't trying to get you
wow.
But anyway, it's by Chika, Dr. Chika Onyani. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but I must wonder if Dwight has ever read that book. But I was talking to Kamari about it because a lot of people think like the doctor who wrote that book does. His thing is he believes that capitalism is the only way to save our folks, but just to go get it by any means. But the problem with that thought is, at least in my opinion, at least, there's no regard for what you do or what you do on the way up of getting that. Yeah, that's the book right there.
All right, Jimmy, I'm going to read it if I can find it, and you have to come back and we have to do a book review together.
Oh, absolutely. And I know. Listen, I already know because I know you and I read the book. It's going to piss you off, right?
Okay, I'm with it. But listen, I'm going to say this. We should be looking to challenge our thoughts. Mm-hmm. We don't grow sitting in these silos and thinking that your shit don't stink and that you got it all figured out. That doesn't help anybody. You should challenge all your thoughts. Question religion, question it all, question those things until those answers are solved, right? Jake says that. Jimmy hates the fact that I'm a Jake fan, but
no, I don't hate the fact that I'm a Jake fan. I hate the fact that you think that DC is beyond reproach. That's what I hate.
I've never said that. Nobody's beyond reproach, but I just
you say that. But if there's any
we'll have another conversation. That's another show. That's a whole other show.
Criticism, you get upset. I mean, we way past kneeling.
No, it's
we way past kneeling. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We'll come back to that. But I want to come to this other comment that Akil had. Do we want to build infrastructure and institutions that will enable us to center ourselves as a people and live healthy and comfortably? These are the explicit conversations we got to have amongst ourselves. I would agree. And there was a clip that I played earlier that I think I should play again. that I think is super relevant.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, how do you define wealth? Is wealth your ability to go to the store and buy a garment, some shoes, a car, a flat screen TV? Is that really wealth? Wealth does not start from access to material things. Wealth starts with your possession of knowledge. If we don't possess knowledge that guides us into how to create wealth, then we'll talk about wealth, but we'll never have it because we don't have the requisite knowledge that would allow us to be a creator of wealth.
Man, and so
that whole clip.
Yeah. And so, I say to people all the time, the most successful organization to date right now is the Nation of Islam. Now,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I did get some pushback on that. Somebody said to me the AME Church. So I have to go back and research that. I got to go back and research because the AMEs have done some stuff and they definitely get busy. So it's no slight, but a lot of their stuff is what? It's their religion, their culture, and their money, right? Do for self was made popular by the Nation of Islam, by Malcolm X. So I think that's the way to go. Now, we can take out the religion because I know a lot of people don't do that. It's hard for some folks because there's no guiding doctrine, right? To kind of recreate something like that. But it can be redone. It can be redone, in my opinion.
Listen, man, I just got to say this again, man. The brother minister's ability to speak is crazy. Like, I do a lot of speaking engagements, and I wish I could be on that level. His pacing and use of his voice. Yeah, his pacing and use of his voice is just like, it's a masterclass, man. So I got to find that whole talk. But what he's saying is absolutely true.
Man, you can just plug in anything, Farrakhan, and you could study that for, linguistic reasons, speech reasons, because he does the same thing. But again, it's so masterful. But he's been rocking for 60, 70 years, right? So
yeah.
It's a lifetime's of work. It's amazing what you can do when you committed and consistent with a thing.
And listen, man, don't tell me that you understand until you hear the man.
Can anybody name that lyric? Who said that lyric? All right, Thad says Black people are very good at creating and having vision, but we lack in creating systems. To really thrive, an idea must be supported by an ecosystem. I agree. I will push back about the vision part, but overall, I agree with your comment.
Hold on, you saying we don't have vision?
Not in the traditional sense of it. So we can see a thing that's like, oh, we need this, right? We need to create this. But then we really, a lot of times, we haven't been able to see how this can transform later on.
I don't know about that. I think I might agree with Thaddeus. I think we do have vision. Now, being able to see that vision through, I think that goes to his point of creating systems. But I think we do have vision.
Okay. I mean, I'm here for it.
Yeah,
give me an example.
I think we do.
Give me an example.
Of us having vision?
Yes.
Let's see. Let me think about this. Are you throwing me on the spot?
Of course. Of course. This is live, baby.
No, I'm so a lot of things. All right, I'm gonna give you one to use your example. You don't think that this is really, I'm throwing your guy back at you. You think Rock Nation was a vision?
Yes.
All right, well, there you go.
I think Malcolm had vision. I think Farrakhan has vision. I think Martin Luther King had vision, right? The very select few, but I'm talking about as a group collectively. And I know everybody can't do that. I understand that.
Listen, man, we all got our third eye, man. So we have vision.
But is it open though? We all got a third eye, but is it open? And are we in tune enough with the source to open that sucker up?
But again, this also goes into what you said, kind of changing the question when you talked about collectively, right? So, I gave you an example just to prove that we have vision.
Some of us do, yeah. I mean, yes.
But the collective piece, you could throw that into any equation, right? Because
we can, yeah. I mean,
at this point, we really haven't operated collectively.
So it's weird though. We kind of do, but we don't. It's a very weird thing. Like, I'm trying to think of something like all black people. I don't want to say all because somebody's going to say,
oh yeah, I know, because I
not a
don't
monolith, but a lot of black people would say we don't need raisins in a potato salad, right? We all collectively get that for the most part.
No, and I think that great work is being done, and a lot of people, to going back to your word, are woke and understand that stuff has to be done. It's why I was saying on our show the other day, and Don was there. I was saying, like, I got to get away. I'll never say again that, man, we don't support each other, we don't do this, because that's not true, right? A lot of that talk comes out of frustration, but where we are now, I see a lot more of us understanding the importance of doing so, right? And sometimes, again, arguing with myself here as I talk on your show, but sometimes we are in our bubbles. So in our little bubble, we all support each other. We all show love. We all buy each other's products. We all do these kind of things. But then when I think about what happens outside that bubble, it does frustrate me at times. But I think a lot of times your tongue has power, so we have to watch what we say and really focus on being solution oriented as opposed to just complaining about what the problems are.
I mean, I agree, but I think sometimes I'm not disagreeing with you. I will just say this. You got to talk about a thing to recognize that it is a problem, to then formulate a plan to make it no longer a problem. But, if you got an hour to talk about a thing and all you're doing is spending 59.59 seconds bitching about the problem and saying, hey, what can we do with this? You're kind of hustling backwards there. So I would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to the point, though, that you said we don't support each other. You want to stop saying that?
I am going to stop saying that.
But largely, we don't. Now, again, I got to say this as a caveat. I shared this with Jimmy the other day, too. Me being here is the product of Black-owned business and Black people. My daddy was a Black-owned business. All the other... I started in radio, right? What radio did I start on? WURD. What is WURD? Black-owned business, right? And so when you look at those things, I could never turn my back on Black folks, but I do think we are allowed to have a critique, a constructive critique of how the community reacts to Black folks or reacts to Black-owned business. But it's got to be constructive, not just bitching for the sake of bitching, and we have to also do the work to try to make things better, in my opinion.
Okay. But I'm not saying that doesn't work needs to be done, but I don't want to dismiss those that actually.
Right. Because if you do it too much, it's like, damn, brother over there working. Sis over there working.
And the fact of the matter is, and shout to Thaddeus, I see Thaddeus' point, but in my bubble and in other bubbles that, surround my bubble, I guess I could use that terminology, people are doing what they got to do.
A lot of them are, yeah. But that goes to your point, right? Giving you props. You always say, find your tribe.
Yes, find your tribe and build.
Yeah. All right, so let's get through a couple of these comments and then let's get out of here because I know Jimmy's tired. As am I.
Man, I'm here speaking with my brother, man. Every time we talk, it's a great build.
But, as I get to these comments, I want to know, what do y'all think, right? Should we be woke? Should we be broke? Like, how should we go about it? So throw that in the chat and let me know. All right, Dwight says, I haven't, but I will now. Thanks for the shout out. Of course.
You're talking about the book, yeah.
I know.
You want to read that book?
Yep, Capitalist Nigga. And maybe we'll get Dwight on to do the review with us as well.
Yeah, I know Akil's a big reader too. Akil, you ever read that book? But go ahead.
Yeah. No. That's what we're supposed to do. Because again, Akil could definitely, he's been on the show. We do a whole big read through. All right, Don says, it's definitely a conversation that isn't being had enough in our community. You in my circle, you getting this Black wealth talk all day. Facts. Black wealth and Black cheese all day.
Don,
so I'm gonna say this. I don't know if you can say this, Jimmy, but I appreciate Don's stories.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you all like this. Don is my guy. If Don talks about Black wealth
all day,
24/6, 365, because that other hour on his Twitter is straight demon time. I said
now on his Facebook too.
Twitter got a problem with the algos, right? Because Twitter don't show you just stuff from the people that you follow. It shows you stuff they like. You know what I'm saying? So Don might be liking something, and I just be going on my timeline like, whoa, like yeah, Don be on it. Like,
yo, I mean, I knew Demon Time on Twitter was bad. I just found something today. It blew my mind.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's straight pun. And the crazy part is, like, I'm like, they got to do something about the algo because it's not you're not even liking this person's stuff. It's something that somebody you know liked, and they'll just put it right in your timeline, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So if you're at work, don't go to Don's Twitter page if you're at work. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, don't do it.
Shout out to Don though. Shout out to Don.
Guy, man.
Yeah, because he isn't. I think he's probably in every black wealth space, right?
Yes, he is.
He be into, like, I do a thing on Mondays called Fin Awards, basically other black people that are in the financial space.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be popping up. I saw you the other day, Don. I was trying to give you a shout out, but the time didn't allow for it. But I appreciate you, brother. I truly do. Don, and I appreciate all of y'all.
Don. Change your Twitter handle to Black Wealth and Black Cheeks. But go ahead, though. Go ahead, Kamar.
Actually, that's a shirt. I might make that a shirt, Don. Listen, Don, I'll make it a shirt. I'll design it real fly, and we can split the proceeds. As a matter of fact, we can take a portion of it and give
away
black charity. Yep.
Yo, man, listen, man. I want you to wear that to FinCon, man.
Think I won't?
I know you will. That's what I'm telling you. Wear it to FinCon. Wait till you see the shirts I'm getting made for FinCon.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down. Black wealth and black cheeks.
Oh man, y'all crazy.
Oh, man. So listen, y'all, I appreciate everyone here. Y'all know the whole purpose of the Finance Rebel Show is to make wealth black again, right? So make sure you tune in every week at 8:30. At 8:30 was the tax time. We're out of tax time now, so we're going back to 8 like we did tonight. And let me know what other topics y'all might want to talk about. What are some of the things that are bothering you?
Let me give something away before we get out of here, man. You know, about the hood, anytime we do a show, we got to give something away, man. So I want to give somebody, I'm going to give somebody $25 to Instacart, man. I'm going to give away some groceries, man.
All right, hold on.
You tell me how you want to do it.
You can't come on my show and show me up. So whatever Jimmy's going to give, I'm going to match it. So it'll be, let's do 2.
All right, two.
Right, so let's do 2. Now, how we going to do it, though?
I'll send them out and you just give me the half back, however you want to do that. But I'm just, how you want to pick?
How we going to pick? That's what I mean. How we going to pick?
I don't know.
Anybody need some groceries? Y'all all stocked up?
I mean, you know, I just want to, about the hood, that's what we do. Anytime we do any sort of, any sort of media, we like to give stuff away, man. And by the way, I ain't trying to hijack your audience, but every Friday on By the Hood, YouTube and Facebook, we do a show and we give away $50 of Bitcoin every Friday. But you want to do the wheel of names? You got another way. This is the show.
So first of all, you can't hijack my audience because it's our audience. Because I come on your stuff just as much as you come on mine.
Listen, I appreciate you, bro. I don't take anything for granted, man.
And I appreciate you as well. By the way, Jimmy and Corey have the bigger platform. I'm just a small fish.
Don't you do that. Don't you dare do that. Don't you dare.
I'm telling the truth.
It's not true.
Running numbers. Aggregate. Aggregate. So where are we going? Is it pick or wheel or?
I mean, whatever you do, we use wheel of names, but however you want to decide to pick who you're giving it away, that's up to you, good brother.
All right, it's wheel of names. That's what I'm looking for.
That's what we use, but also remember with the wheel of names, you got to type the names in the people that'll be in the giveaway.
Oh Lord. All right, how can we do this real quick?
You know how we do it. We tell people to put the ones in the chat and we add them to the mix, but that's up to you, man. I mean, you know.
All right, we're going to follow Jimmy's lead. So put a 1 in the chat if y'all want to win some groceries, all right?
Put a 1 in the chat if you want to be part of the giveaway. We about to give away $50 in groceries, man. I mean, you know, I know y'all rich because y'all listen to the Finance Rebel, but everybody, hey, listen, maybe y'all gifted to somebody else. You know what I mean?
So put a 1 in the chat real quick.
This is what we do.
We're going to do two orders of $25.
Two $25 cards to give our folks some groceries, man. I'm trying to live out my best Panther life.
Listen, we're going to start doing this bigger, though.
Absolutely, we are. But the reason we do 25 is like we wanted to make sure that we consistently doing it every week. Like Kamari, as my tax professional, when you get a chance to look at that sheet and see the amount of money you give away, you're gonna question me. But we give this away. Every kid.
Why am I going to question you?
Because a lot of people do. They say y'all really get us away we give away money all the time.
I give away money too. I give away stocks. Y'all do Bitcoin.
Every kid in our camp gets a stipend. Like this is what we do. We do this.
All right, so I am putting these in. Give me a little grace, y'all, because I do not.
I can read them to you if you want me to give you. So we got.
I'm typing. Listen, my daddy made me take typing in 7th grade. I hated it. I'm like, why the hell am I doing this?
You took typing class, bro. You're really aging yourself right now.
I said Ada Lewis. Ada Lewis, yes, sir.
Shout out to Ada Lewis. I got in the rumble with Ada Lewis one time.
Oh man, I've been in several rumbles with Ada Lewis, but
I wonder how boy was doing. I don't remember his name though. I was coming out of Ivy Leaf and he was mad. Y'all used to get mad at us just for existing.
No, that wasn't me. So Nicole says, Kamar, you've been woke since you were 15. Hey, that's actually a compliment. I'll take that.
Absolutely. That's
I'll take that.
Why y'all Ada Lewis students so mad though? Y'all used to get mad for no reason.
Willie Lynch, man. Willie Lynch.
I like that answer.
So we got Nicole, Dr. Tawana, Untan Kango, Jigga 1017, Speak Peace, Thaddeus Green. All right. Now listen, we're going to do this in 30 seconds. Last one's in. That's all in. We got 15 people in the room right now. Everybody should be in. Untamed Tango didn't put Kango didn't put a 1 there. He just said Greek dialogue. Yeah. So you want to be in there?
Listen, some folks got so much bread they don't even need to be in.
Yeah. And listen, you could always tithe of the tithe or give of the give, right? Mm-hmm. You can take this and give it to somebody else who was in need.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
So I'm gonna go into the chat myself, and I'm gonna put our email there. So anybody that wins, just email me right away tonight. We're gonna get this paid out right away tonight. We're gonna pay this out right away tonight.
All right. I am going to share the screen so we can do the giveaway.
They may not even share it. If I try to share it, they may not let me share it. Let's see if it pops up. I might have to write it the other way.
All right. So we ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are spinning. Jigga 1017. All right, that's the first one. That is the first one. We have a winner. All right. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Number 2, two $25 gift cards for groceries. Thaddeus Green is in the building. Now, Thaddeus don't need this because Thaddeus already rich. But rich.
So we got Jigga 1017
and Thaddeus. So put the email in the chat, Jimmy.
I did. I'm not sure why it's not popping up, and I think it's probably because it's an email.
No, but it should pop up. What's the email, Jimmy?
ByTheHoodLLC@gmail.com.
Sometimes there is a lag here.
Yeah, so don't forget to put the LLC, By the Hood LLC. So Jigga Man and there we go. Jigga Man and Thaddeus.
Akira, I didn't see where you at, babe? I didn't see the 1. Where's the 1? You didn't put the 1. Jimmy, do you see a 1?
No, I don't. Not under her name, I don't. We asked everybody to put a 1 if they were interested in being a part of our giveaway. Like I said, we By the Hood, anytime we on a platform, we give away something. So, and Kamari, shout out to you for matching this. We're gonna give away.
Of course. I usually give away stock. But times are crazy. So yeah, I'm down with doing a Black Panthers rematch.
That's what we moving to, man. We Instacart. And by the way, every Friday. He said, my people need it. No doubt. Every Friday, we give away Bitcoin in our By the Hood Live every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So, pull up to our YouTube channel every Friday at 7 p.m. Our YouTube page is By the Hood, BUITHOOD. But no, this has been a great conversation, good brother. I appreciate always talking to you. We talk every day, but it's still always great to come on your platform and run my mouth.
Our platform, right?
Our platform. My apologies.
I really minded. because I was told I have an open invitation to come on by the hood anytime I want, right? So
anytime you want. Yeah, it don't matter. The Friday show, our Wednesday pod, you pull up whenever you want to pull up, bro. IG Live, whatever you want to pull up, you know that.
Yep. So I appreciate it. So I do not take it for granted. So listen, go on over by the hood on YouTube.com. So go to YouTube.com, by the hood. Everybody can find it. And you'll see Jimmy with the big beard, and you got Corey with the big beard, and me, I got the little mini beard. So I got beard envy. That's the only thing I'm envious of any man is their beards.
And listen, man, last thing I want to say is, man, please support our summer camp. And for those who don't know, we give a free summer camp every year for kids all across the world. To get more information, go to bythehoodcamp.com. And we teach kids about personal finance. We talk to them about the power of ownership, the stock market, real estate, banking. We do, and it's completely free for kids ages 5 and up. There's no cost at all. In fact, the way we operate ours, our kids leave the camp with a stipend to start investing. So that's something that we do in terms of like doing our part. That's bythehoodcamp.com. Shout out to the winners. Don't forget to shoot me the email because I'm going to get you this gift card this evening.
And I work with Jimmy and Jimmy and Corey on the camp sometimes. Yeah. I'm going to work to do more with them going forward. So it's official. I have my kids there too.
Yes,
so spread the word. Spread the word.
And if you have any sort of need in terms of like school, if you run a school or know someone that runs a school or look for that kind of information, we do that as well. We're currently teaching. Shout out to Akil because Akil helped us get into the Sankofa homeschooling, which is amazing. And we teach a personal finance class there. So yeah, we're doing a lot of work in the community, man. So just look out for By the Hood, BUYTHEHOOD. And we got amazing memes.
All right, Dr. T said good beardage.
Thank you, Dr. T.
That's funny. That's funny. But all right, y'all, as I say, remember, every Wednesday we are here at 8:30. Be here, be square. And like I said, I'm working on coming back more, doing more content.
Look at that last question, Kamar. I just want to say that. I want to make sure we answer that question because that's a question we get a lot. So no, it's not open to kids in Philly. We actually put it online now, so it's open to kids all across the world.
Yep.
We have students literally all across the country. California, Las Vegas, Texas. We have students everywhere.
I mean, shoot, we've had people as far as South Africa tune into some of our lives before. So
yes, sir. And we've had students from South Africa. So like, once we put, and the thing is, we were forced to. We used to do it actually only in Philly live, but the pandemic made us go online, and I can't see going away from it now because once we put it online, we had hundreds of students that came from all over the world. So it's like now I can't just not service the kids that need the information. You know what I mean?
So I'm trying to get him to do both, y'all.
I mean, yeah. Listen, we can. Our thing is about being with the people and doing what we gotta do to give back. So we're gonna do it all, Kamar. Whatever you need, bro, we gotta make it happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So again, I'll be back. Maybe I got a couple things roasted in the clip to talk about. Some craziness as always, but always some good stuff to come. So I'll see y'all next time. Thanks again for tuning in to the Finance Rebel Show.